So we're talking to Holly, who is in Minnesota and who made a video called Twin Cities Premiere, I believe, that covered one of the Four-Eyed Monsters screenings in Minneapolis, right? And
Correct.
So my first question is how you found the Four-Eyed Monsters and became part of the whole community.
They added me as friends on MySpace because that's what they were doing at the time. They were just seeking out people who had listed that music was an interest. Then I went and I watched the first podcast, and I just thought that they were very endearing, and it was funny and very intriguing. And they had sent me a link to their music page. They were telling people if you have music that you'd like to send our way to be considered for a submission, please do that. So I posted a link to our band, and sure enough, Arin got in touch with us, and then I sent him a CD, and then before we knew it, I was like, let's set up a screening, and we were, down that road. We really pushed hard. I was literally, for 3 months, I promoted the show. Like, I was at the Varsity, which is the theater where we ended up screening. Anytime a show would let out, 3 months prior to the screening, I was talking to every single person in line.
Wow.
Like, not just handing them a flyer, but like telling them, this is a really, really, really awesome movie, and you need to go watch the podcast because they're really engaging, and what they're doing is, I think it's like breaking new ground, and there's, they're doing it on their own, and they're doing it on their own terms, and I feel, this affinity to this sort of creative spirit, and so I would sit and I met so many amazing people in the process of doing that, and everyone was like, sure, we'll check it out, and before I knew it, we had all these requests. I just thought it was such a neat, the fact that they reached out to so many people through the internet, through this really sort of, it seems impersonal, it's just like, it's the internet. And yet they've built this amazing community and network, and they've done it on their own.
At the screenings you were at, how did the movie play? Did it feel like it really connected with people?
I think when people actually had to go online and request the screenings, that was the point where you became engaged. And I think once you watched the first podcast, you were kind of like hooked because it was really... because it's really good, and it's just such a neat story.
So your band is called Aviette?
Yeah, Aviette.
Has being a part of their process changed any of the ways in which, you think of getting your music out there?
Oh, completely. They're kind of forging their own path, and like I said, doing it on their own terms, and it's working. And to know that, like, to see that is, it gives you hope, like, why don't, we're waiting to get signed to a record label. It's like, we could just start one,
right?
And we did.
Arin and Susan self-distributed their film, Four-Eyed Monsters, and throughout September of last year, you could see the film on Thursdays, I think, in, like, Boston, New York, LA, Seattle. Cole helped with the Boston screenings. Now, what did you do, flyers, stuff like that, or...?
Yeah, I flyered, I sent tons of messages out to my friends and then had them send them out to their friends. I also was sort of their t-shirt bitch, so I would go every Thursday and sell t-shirts and talk about it, and, with people, and just try and, like, word of mouth advertise.
How did people react to the screenings?
Everybody was very, very into it. I think there's a weird thing. It's great that they do the podcast. It makes it so inclusive and everything, but there is sort of, when you see the film, there is a weird attachment because you're seeing the product, whereas when you're seeing the podcast, you're really kind of like feeling like you're in the creative process.
It's like a really interesting point, because what Arin and Susan do basically in terms of having a podcast that details the making of the film and the release of the film, and then separately having the film itself, is change your role from being that of, like, almost collaborator, like, included in the process, to all of a sudden, like, traditional audience member. On YouTube now, there are a lot of behind-the-scenes making of the film type thing that independent filmmakers are doing, and as we all kind of collaborate more, I think the line will get really blurry between, like, who creates a film when you're showing it throughout the process and people are commenting on it throughout the process, and they're really maybe even helping you distribute it.
Well, I think that a lot of people don't realize what gets involved in making a film. So that's what's great about this business project, is even though they're talking about themselves, they're also talking about how painful and wonderful it is to work on a project with other people and to collaborate, and how, it's intense.
I also love that Arin is so into sharing the art of filmmaking, particularly with video, is also sort of like an extension of that whole process.
Being innovators, they want to be teachers also. Like, if they're doing something different, they don't want to just throw that out there and say, oh, wow, we've done something different, look at us. It's, okay, how can you start to take this and how can it help your process and your project? They decided that this is what they were going to do. 100%, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, they were going to try and make this happen. They just pushed forward. They're super encouraging. They want everybody to do that, to be pushing forward, and they'll try their best to help you. It's just great. It's like a little, they're trying to build this creative community.
I'm talking to Mike Hedge, who videotaped a bunch of footage from some of the West Coast September screenings last year for Four-Eyed Monsters. I'll just edit the video so that our conversation is over your footage. We'll avoid our technical difficulties that way. And my first question would just be, how did you get involved with Four-Eyed Monsters?
I met them at Slam Dance 2005 in Park City on Main Street. I got a Four-Eyed Monsters sticker, and I stuck it to my jacket, and there I was. I was now promoting Four-Eyed Monsters.
And did you see the film at Slam Dance?
Yep, they had a screening the next day, and I went there and saw the film and met all the people, and it was really exciting.
So did you help promote the film after Slam Dance?
Majorly. I've had their trailers, their banners, their DVD banners, everything like that up on my MySpace page. And I've sent out bulletins and messages and blogs, posted YouTube links.
What inspired you to get that involved and to sort of become part of the cause?
I'm a filmmaker myself. I'm a film producer. It's just sort of inspiring to watch them sort of try to get the film out in the world without getting sort of beaten by the system with distributors. Our other friend, Lance Weiler, he also has done a similar distribution thing all by himself and getting it out into theaters, and it just, it's amazing.
Totally. I've been looking for similar stories just through YouTube and have found a number of documentaries and features where they're doing the same thing. They tell you how to request the screening of the film in your local theater. People really have sort of found a way to step around the whole studio distribution system.
It's an incredibly genius idea that I think is going to be very norm, 2008, 2009.
And so I imagine obviously you attended a lot of the screenings. Did people dig it? Did people become like you, sort of inspired to kind of join the cause?
They love the film. They've kept active. They've, become like me, the supporters of the movement, the film, the DVD.